We got Chicken in the Rain in the video last night, didn't we?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, so, that, we got that one. I'm trying to think if there's another one. You want me to play Strutting so you guys on the video? I don't think I have. There's video of Tommy and I playing it. And, oh, I'll tell you something else. When I did this with Strutting, Strutting is so weird. What happens is you have a brain lapse in the middle of Strutting. You know, you just fell out of the airplane, you know. And
You say thank you and good night.
So what you do is you practice stopping, keeping the beat going, and then starting again arbitrarily. So no matter where you are, you can get back in. So if you play, come back in. At first I started doing that with Strutting because when Tommy and I were playing together, we wanted to have some little variations, and so every now and then I'd just stop and watch him and then come back in. He never knows where I'm gonna come back in, nor do I. But I could watch and keep up here where I would be if I were still playing and then come back in instead of just like missing and then like that. You know. So any piece you play, if you can stop, keep it going, and then come back in, that means up here the music is happening, right? And it means also you've thought through how each finger leads to the next one. And it's a way of really being in charge of what you're doing, not hoping. Because I remember early on, I'd been in town maybe, I don't know, 3 or 4 weeks, and Chet would bring me by the office, come on, go and play, you know. And then people would drop by. He would say, show me your fastball, John. Introduce me. And so I realized now what he was doing was introduce me to everybody. And so I'd play something, you know. And a few weeks in, he said, are you playing those things the same every time? And I said, well, yeah. He said, man, I couldn't do that. He said, what do you do if you make a mistake? And there it was right there, you know. Then how do you get back in if you fall off? I had some methods for doing that. Then he said, what do you do if you have a great idea? Oops. You've got an art form that is going to be in danger if you have a good idea. That's not exactly what you're looking for. So what I did, I still wasn't like an improviser, but what I would do is come up with several turnarounds and several endings. As I played through, just change which one I did, depending on it. I remember one of them was, perhaps they never will. That's Vincent, right? Vincent. And what I did first was this. Like that. Like really the stars, right? Except what really happened is Vincent left, which is here. So then I did this. And that's just thirds chromatically. And that one has its own thing too, because the paintings are still here, but Vincent is not. So Vincent returned to the earth, the painting being up in the sky. Again, you've heard me say, I think a lot about stories and kind of programmatic play and all that stuff. So now what I'm doing is I'm playing, and I think about how's it been going, what's the audience listening to, which ending is going to be the one, and then I play that ending. And now I'm improvising, right, in my cowboy way. Later on, it gets to where if you've done that, you can do more variations on things. And it takes a while where you can make up something where as many fingers are all in the right place. You know, at first I couldn't do that. I can play, I can do now, because if I play, I'm in the mood for love. Oh, picture it.
Poor E Street.
Oh, up and down, up and down, up and down.
Yeah, we're not jazz guys.
I just feel sorry for it.
You can put a switch on.
So now I know the chords, and I know what the scale notes are. Now, it's not fancy channel improvising, but it means a variation that I can see. A lot of what I'm doing is that knowing how to move like that in kind of each key. It's where the chords move up and down the scale. And if you know how to do that, you can move towards the chord that's going to resolve. And then if you know how to add an extra note above and below the top note, you can change how you do that. So it's but little by little you want to be trapped in, I mean, Chet was right about that. Matter of fact, the way he played, he had a sketch of what he was going to do. And then he did what he felt like doing, which is, I haven't reached that domain yet. But I remember when the first time I was going to proofread that book, Chet Atkins Goes to the Movies, that went with that album. And so I showed him what I thought he did, and he couldn't remember, because he changes up all the time. He plays it 3 times, it's 3 different ways. So we would put the record on, and oh, okay, now then he would remember what he did. He'd play it again, and I would prove it. But that really floored me to find out, because they all sounded so perfect, like a classical player, but they weren't. It's just him knowing what he's doing, like a conversation. I can talk about this and that, and if we talk about the weather a little bit, it's awful cloudy out there today, and it doesn't blow my mind to say a sentence that wasn't, it's still a conversation about you and I today. But if you can do that on the guitar, or work towards a goal like that, then it loosens up your playing, and it means you can make more decisions. It also means if you have an idea, you can act on it instead of going, oh no, an idea. So that's another one, I suppose. I'll record, you can find it, but it's so different.
When I get done editing this, people will think your guitar automatically. Just all by itself, it knows what it's
John
doing.
Knowles, he's always in tune.
I use that same idea.
If it snaps.
I was gonna say the first self-tuning a classical guitar.
That's it.
I want something.
You need a pedal for that. Actually, there was a guitar player that did that. He had a pedal that knocked that, kind of a screw-up tuner in a pedal.
Wow.
To just pop that string down.
You could probably modify those half-step tuners to get it all the way down to the D on there, put it on that string.
Still have to do it.
It's not
It's not perfect.
great.
Yeah, you gotta get the first.
But it's
Not
close,
like
it's
eBay.
faster.
The other thing I do now, I can kind of mess around a little bit and play it almost like this, but not quite. I can go in, and here's how strutting goes when I learned it from Chet, which is not how Jerry played it, because he didn't play it that much. There is video of Jerry playing strutting, but it's like, you can tell it's an early version. It's short, and at the end of it, made it, But then, I don't think he ever recorded it. He recorded another song and used that title again. So nice and confusing. So now, if you're in the bridge, oh, that's good. I forget which one I'm doing. Or same note, but just turn them around a little bit. And if you do that in strutting, then you've got several variations that can happen, Or if you play it for the first time and it's square, the second time, change it up a bit. Maybe change up the bridge when you get to the bridge, Also, you can change this way. Just not play the bass. And then come in with the bass. It's kind of like that, and they lay out on the stove place, and then they come in. But you do those things on the fly, not rehearse them that way. So that way, when you're playing strutting, you can always surprise yourself.